Just like all the other administrative aspects of the system, role building, which is very necessary to be able to set up your users if you have a large group of users. Setting up roles requires a little knowledge as to just exactly what the system will enable you to do and not do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the role menu. Roles essentially are an automated template that allows you to set the user accesses. So for instance, you may have users that are only concerned with billing. You may have users that are only concerned with dispatch. Maintenance needs different items than dispatch and billing needs. Sales may need altogether different items from what anyone else is looking at in your system. Your traffic manager probably needs access to absolutely everything out there. Now, so let's take a look at what the traffic manager's role would be, and I'll look at and show you how it is set up. So we would go to Edit. You'll notice that this is an expanded list of the accesses or the permissions that you would be able to set up for a role ID. So in this case, the traffic manager is set up. The description is traffic manager. And you would go through and establish, for instance, an account. He doesn't have any access to the account administrator, but he does have write and edit to users. He has no ACL access. He cannot go in and change this chart once it's built for him or for anyone else. He has no access to role administration, which again is access into this menu. As you go down through, you'll notice that some places he has no access, some places he has write edit, some places he defaults. Bottom line is you tailor this particular group of permissions to your traffic manager. Now, once these permissions are tailored to the traffic manager and you click on change and save them, then when you enter a new user, and you'll remember as we go back to the user admin button, and I go down here to, let's create a new user as Bob again. And when I go to edit Bob, here down towards the bottom, you'll see the default ACL, which is your access control role. Here we would simply put in that Bob is traffic. And then we would change that. Now Bob's user accesses are now, as you note here, traffic. That will control what he can and cannot do without you having to go through all 160 line items again for every single user that you put into the system. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete Bob out because he's not a real user here. You'll notice it will ask me, are you sure you want to delete the second item, the selected items? Well, yes, I do. And Bob is gone. So we go back to our role administrator. And as you see, here's our traffic manager role, ready to be used by just anybody. However, there's no users because Bob is no longer on the system. Those are roles. For those of you that just have one or two people who are looking at your system and you pretty much have total access, roles are probably not going to play a significant part. However, if you have a fleet where you have maintenance involved and traffic management, human resources, safety, executive will be looking over your shoulder, system admin, IT department that actually keeps everything up and running. These will define in a more simplified and straightforward manner the addition and removal of users so that you don't have to spend an awful lot of time thinking about each line item of the 160 line items as to what this particular user should have or should not have. And I should also tell you that even if you select the traffic rule for Bob, but there's a couple of things in there that you'd really like Bob to have access to, well, that's not a problem. You just scroll down to those particular line items and you change them to what you want him to have access to. That does not change the balance of the ACL role. that merely changes that particular line item. Once again, these are features that you can go in and enable and use at any time. You do not have to do this in your initial setup. You can come back and set up roles pretty much any time. You can add roles, you can delete roles. And that's what a role is.